Old School Runescape is a game that is often praised for its horizontal progression when it comes to content. The gear that is good today will have some use tomorrow. Content in the game today isn't going to be outdated next patch, and boss monsters have utility even after bigger and badder monsters come into the game. But with so many bosses in the game, some are more exciting than others, and that's okay. Just because the King Black Dragon's mechanics are simple doesn't mean it's not fun to fight. Regardless if it's for a Slayer task or a lower level group bossing encounter, it's still fun. But then there are bosses that are absolutely insufferable. I don't mean mechanics that are difficult, I mean mechanics that are fundamentally boring and not fun to engage with, and that's what I'll be covering today. The moment you saw the thumbnail, you knew I was talking about the Kalphite Queen. She's just irritating. Her abilities are as follows. Can attack in any style, but her magic and range attacks bypass accuracy checks. She doesn't actually protect against a given style of combat, the game just lies to you about that. Her defense just changes between the forms. Also, it takes 12 seconds to swap between forms and 30 seconds to respawn. So in total, you spend 42 seconds just sitting around doing nothing, and it's a bit annoying to run to her even with shortcuts. Add in world hopping and crashing, and it's just not fun. The solution is actually already developed. Echo Kalphite Queen was a considerable improvement, but I think we should be careful with changes to classic content that was in the RuneScape 2 backup. So my change suggestion is going to be threefold. 1. Make defense actually matter. Bypassing your defenses is just silly. It can have high accuracy, sure, but make it actually earn the hit. That way the mechanic isn't just eat food. 2. Implement flat armor. This was a great addition with Perilous Moons that allow faster or multi-hit weapons to be better in certain situations. This expands the weapons that can be used for people trying out the boss before their diary grind. Torag's Hammers, anyone? 3. Create a Kalphite King boss with the mechanics of the Echo Kalphite Queen. The boss would share combat achievements with the Kalphite Queen the same way the single and multi variations of Wilderness bosses do. They'd also share a drop table, but the Kalphite King would have an extra roll on its standard loot. This wouldn't give it an additional roll on its unique or tertiary drop table, so that way dragon pickaxes can maintain their price. This way, the boss stays true to its RuneScape 2 self with minor improvements, but we have another option for repeated visits for the diary grind. Good grief, where do I begin? So to be fair, this boss at least has a bit more going for it than the Kalphite Queen. It has a trample mechanic so you can't step under like with most bosses, and also has a dark core that requires you to move. In addition, it does have a damage reduction mechanic that actually emphasizes gear that you wouldn't normally use. The problem is outside of trample, none of the other stuff was implemented well. The dark core can be destroyed, stunned, or I swear will just disappear on its own without much hassle. The damage reduction is kind of a moot point when the Fang, one of the best weapons in the game, ignores the damage reduction. And that's not even getting into the worst parts. It's got so much health and hits so hard. This boss was never meant to be soloed. It came out at a time when the game didn't have much content and was just kind of plopped on the map and given a teleport. It wasn't meant for Iron Man, which came out a couple days before the Corporeal Beast. Keep in mind, this was back when there was a firm dedication to not let Iron Man mode have an influence on the direction of the content. As a side effect of this, it only gives KC credit to the person who does the most damage, unlike something like Nightmare or Nex. So how do people fight this thing? There's basically two methods. 1. Mass. A crapload of players kill it in 5 seconds. 2. Giant Chicken. This involves teleporting in and out over and over and over again, speccing to bring its stats down to 0 using the Ember Light special attack. The combat task isn't a test of skill, it's a test of endurance, as if you decide to go in a group, only the MVP gets the kill count incremented. So what can be done about the boss? A number of things that hopefully make it more bearable or at least engaging. 1. Add a solo variation like Fasani's Nightmare. Will this have a negative effect on the price of the spirit shields? Absolutely. Do I care? Not really. None of the drops are essential for any account, though they are quite useful. The only one I'm a little worried about being too accessible is the Elysian Spirit Shield, just because of how powerful of an item that is. But that can pretty easily be rebalanced by adjusting the drop rate for the solo encounter if it is just a little bit too accessible. Add some form of mechanic that allows players to greatly reduce damage the boss does to you. If this means standing on a specific tile, so be it. If it means multiple dark cores are shot out and killing them reduces the max hit of the boss, great. Effectively giving a way to weaken and kill the boss without leaving and coming back a million times. For the group variant, split the loot amongst the players and give kill credit to everyone. Yes, even the Dirty Irons. Give the MVP highest chance for the unique drop if it rolls, just like at any other group boss. I was debating the final spot between a number of bosses, and honestly, Chaos Elemental is the one I chose to go with. And there is interesting context I want to include. Back in the day, Callisto, Vet'ion, and Venenatis had rather different mechanics, but they were ultimately ignored when players would actually fight them, seeking elaborate safe spots or flinching methods. As a result, they were changed. This didn't apply to the Chaos Elemental, Scorpia, Chaos Fanatic, or Crazy Archaeologist. Scorpia was fine as it was in my opinion, and the Chaos Fanatic and Crazy Archaeologist were meant to be simpler bosses anyways. Meanwhile, Chaos Elemental still has an achievement called the Flincher, and honestly, it's not a bad way to deal with it. It's not quite as bad as the other two on the list, but I still think a minor rework is fitting. I don't think they should make flinching impossible. I actually do like how it's the last boss where you can use this method effectively, but I think there should be more reward for actually engaging with the mechanics beyond bring a full inventory of pie so he doesn't unequip your stuff. I would add an attack in line with its existing themes of chaos to make the guaranteed damage less likely to occur. And I have an interesting idea for this one that hasn't been implemented in other bosses. Make an attack where the Chaos Elemental spins around, and you need to do the spin emote yourself or take a 10 or something. It's kinda silly, not too tough, and is something we haven't seen in a boss. Closest we have to emotes being needed is that one combat achievement in the Colosseum. Outside of that, I don't actually think a drop table rework is needed, as it was updated about a year and a half ago. I'd like to include a brief honorable mention to two bosses that also kind of suck but have been made less painful due to some updates. While they're not perfect, they're not in too awful of a state, but I didn't think it was worth putting them above these two, hence why they're honorable mentions. The Nightmare always was just not too fun to fight, primarily because of the nature of its drop table, even with recent buffs. I can't quite put my finger on the mechanics, as there's nothing about the boss that makes it unbearable, but I personally find it unenjoyable, and I've noticed other people in the community generally share a similar sentiment. Something I will say though is it's pretty demoralizing to fight a boss that's so long, where its standard drops are just not that great, and its unique drops are just so rare. Not to mention how outclassed Inquisitor armor is these days, as it really is only useful at the Nightmare, the source where you get it from. I think a buff, or as some people have suggested, the ability to combine it with the Justiciar armor would be pretty cool. Then there's the Abyssal Sire. My main complaints have kind of been handled with being able to attack it in between the phase shifts, make the vents more consistent, and just overall making some areas of unavoidable damage less punishing. My main remaining complaint is the fact that if you want to enjoy some of these benefits, you will need Demon Bane weaponry, which is still pretty late in an account's progression, even with the decrease in price for non-irons. It just kinda seems like a waste of an Abyssal Demon task when you can be bursting in the Catacombs instead. And that's my list of bosses I think need reworking. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and leave a comment if you think I missed a boss, or have an idea for other ways we can improve a given boss. Feel free to use the link in the description to check out the book I wrote as well. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care.